Welcome to Chasing Your Dreams podcast, where we dive into the journeys of ambitious individuals who are turning their dreams into reality. Get ready for real conversation, success stories, and tips to keep you moving forward. Here's your host, Eric Hall.
What up, though? Hey, it's your man, Professor Curt Steele. I'm the producer of the Chasing Your Dream podcast, and I'm here guest hosting and bringing back in Mr. Eric Hall. We've been absent for a while, but we're back. And Mr. Hall, he wants to come on in, and we're going to talk about some things. What you got today, Mr. Hall?
Yeah, man. Trying to get this thing back rolling for sure. Hopefully, I'm going to let you guys do a lot of the talking tonight because I've definitely been going through some things that have prevented me from definitely being able to record, but definitely want to just kind of, get back into my groove and see, how we can make this thing work tonight. Bringing, Mr. Thomas Washington. I used to be my mentee, kind of now making his own mark in the world, making some power moves in the mental health field. And then, of course, Anthony Little, back for probably third, fourth time, going to be many more. He's making all kind of moves and things to that nature. I want to put out there at the forefront, give him a chance to talk about those things, get a chance to, man, just chop it up, man, more than anything. And then, of course, man, my producer, Mr. Curt Steele, and his Lines podcast. You can see my cowboy stuff tonight. Man, we're going to just chat it up, man, and just kind of get back in the groove of this thing, man. Just have some fun, laid back, good talk before the new year get here. And actually, this will be the last one to drop. Well, at least I get one in before the new year get here. So that's good, man. So I appreciate you guys, man. Really accommodating your schedule just to get on and chop it up, man. For sure, for sure. But nevertheless, man, Mr. Little, you're back. You're back.
Oh, yeah.
And me and you've been talking back and forth anyway, man. Let's give them some of these new things that you got going on.
Well, okay. I started another podcast as a co-host with Anthony. His name is Anthony too. McMillan. It's called Outside the Box. It's a sports podcast, so I'm a co-host on that. It comes on every Thursday. We on a little break for New Year's and Christmas. Starting back up probably around the week of the 12th, January 12th. So we'll be back with that podcast. International, the movie, The Art of Business, Best of Both Worlds, which just got picked up with the distribution international lead with in Asia, China, well, basically China, Japan, all the Asia market, Middle Eastern market, which is also Asia. So yeah, we then AC Brown, he got a distribution clothing line that he with his AC Brown clothing brand and a few other things that he's got coming down the line. So there's a lot of stuff coming up very soon with the Capton Enterprises, Capton Holdings, some investment stuff that I'm working on, some angel investment stuff that I want to do, some venture capitalist stuff that I really want to get into. And hey, next year, which is only a day away, a couple days away, I'm trying to make it big. I'm trying to do it big. So I'm trying to, just really get on the next level and really make some things happen.
For sure, man. Look, always good to definitely chat it up, man.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have some fun with that tonight, man. And then Mr. Thomas Washington, man, I know since we had you on and you was one of the interns on the show, a lot then changed in your life as well, man. So tell everybody what's new.
I graduated with my master's at Fayetteville State. Ever since then, I just hit the ground running. Honestly, get my feet wet and then, learning from the best, honestly. So shoot, that's pretty much it.
Who the best that you learning from?
Hey, man, that's you, man.
Hey, look.
That's
yeah,
you.
Man. We have some fun. We be having some fun around the office, man. But actually, I've been having an opportunity to just kind of witness his growth, firsthand. He's really getting his first taste of what the business world is like, having to really get out here, really have to grind. Now kind of making his own mark, getting a full caseload and doing some different things as we start this van. Some new business myself. Me and my wife pretty much getting lunch, creative studio and venue. Pretty much here within the next couple of weeks. We just trying to really go ahead and lock down a building. That's her passion, her dream. she's into like wedding planning and doing all kind of different things like that. So that'll be her baby. I'm just kind of really helping her see that, see that through. So that's one of the
Hmm.
things that's kind of hot out the press that we're working on. Our second building for Creative Minds is finally officially running, the Say Op and Say Cot program. So definitely been a long road, long journey, and we actually got a ribbon cutting at some point that's about to be taking place here soon. So we just kind of finalized that date. But definitely been a lot of different things, man. So as news come through, I'll be on here to drop it, man, for sure, for sure. But you know,
Hmm.
something different I'm gonna throw in here. I'm gonna throw a curveball on y'all since I'm a mental health counselor anyway, and looking at some of the things that be going on in the world, man. One of the things that has been a hot topic is just about being proactive with like your mental health and what to do with burnout. Like I've constantly seen those questions, and I've just had so many people just send me stuff over the last couple of days when I talk about other clinicians, just people in general. And ultimately, man, what do you guys do, man? Like being proactive with like your health, your mental health. Me, myself, and I like full transparency. I've had to go through this health journey myself, and now going through whatever it has been going on with me, with whether it was GERD, Harris esophagus, whatever you want to call it. I definitely had some issues, man, that I've been working through, and ultimately, I have an appointment coming up here soon that should help me get to the bottom of whatever it was going on. But it really called for me to do a lot of things different that I had not been doing consistently. From eating different, eating healthier, right? Cutting certain things out of my diet, getting back to really working out like multiple times a week. Just kind of diet and exercising
Yeah.
for was with the main changes I ultimately had to make. But in general, man, what you guys think about like just being proactive on health and not waiting for something bad to happen, right? On our health and mental health. What's some things that you guys typically do?
Well, I start. So I do a lot of meditation. I speak. I talk to a lot of different people. About any issues or problems that I got coming up. Like or anything that might bring, uh, like you said, that anxiety. So you have to really. The anxiety is that's the killer. To be real with you, the anxiety is the killer. So if you anybody that suffers from anxiety, I think the main thing you got to do is really take a step back on what you're doing and how you operating from that standpoint. Making sure that you're good, your mind is clear, you meditated, you prayed up, you talking to the right people. You're not just trying to deal with it just off the strength of just trying to deal with it. You go work out, eat right, because I think that contributes to a lot of the anxiety. If you're not eating right, you sitting here watching all this crazy stuff on TV all day. You got to turn that TV off. You got to get off that phone. You got to sit back and just get your mind right, meditate, pray up. Uh, talk to the right people. Don't talk to anyone that's putting a lot of negativity in your life. So that's my big thing. I just try to stay away from the negativity, stay low, and do what I got to do to continue to grow.
For sure, man. And you even threw something else in there when you talked about anxiety in general. And
Right.
honestly and truthfully, just really understanding anxiety, like what is it? Like that trigger of danger to your brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Automatically, man, it starts to make you think the worst possible things can possibly happen, right? Really put your body in
Mm-hmm.
fight or freeze, like real time. And as you learn, like you like highlight a lot of things, like if you was to go through like something like talking to a counselor, anything like that, within that process, you learn different coping skills and things to really learn how to fight it the right way and do some different things to kind of make things easy on you in terms of managing those thoughts. But a lot of what goes on with even in that process is just kind of evaluation, like how often does the worst possible outcome actually happen in your life, right? Like really looking at those things, weighing the pros and
Mm-hmm.
the cons of really getting down to, really helping you manage those things better, man. But hey, all of those are good. So what do you do for self, like to prevent burnout? What do you do to prevent burnout? Let's do this.
Oh, so with me with burnout, are you talk so like with burnout, you just got to get your 8 hours in or try to get close to it. Mentally, you got sometimes you just like you say, you gotta let the phone go. You gotta close that book. You know, if you reading, if you doing a lot of different things, thinking about a lot of stuff, you think about business moves, money moves. Sometimes you have to take a step back and just look at life moves, things you got to do to continue to improve your life. You know, and have a, you know, so hey, people to talk about a journal is good. Having a good journal,
Mhm.
writing, you know, writing about different things that you got going on, you know, putting your life into a journal. You know, back in the day, you know, the young ladies used to say diaries, and you know, as you get older, you start looking like, well, you know what, that was a good idea back then when some of these young ladies and guys will have writing into diaries, and but now you're looking at it as a journey, a journal. So writing into a journal, putting your notes down, and just keeping your head focused from that standpoint, moving, you know, moving back, not looking at not looking at all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world. There's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on in the world. So you have to journal. Journal is a big thing to help with that burnout for real.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Eh,
Great,
for me
Mr.
on
Steele.
my end, like sometimes you got to disengage. Like sometimes that you if you're doing something over and over again is repetitive and you're getting burned out. So you got to take a step back, take a day off, take a what I'm saying, take a break because
Hmm.
those things can help you get your mind right and refocus. Definitely, I've always been a proponent of you know getting like taking a step back and for me talking to someone, of course, what I'm saying, if you have to, I always tell my people on my podcast, man, hey man, get your mentals checked out, what I'm saying, talk to a counselor, talk to whoever. I mean, you don't have to be a counselor, talk to somebody that you can confide in, because sometimes you need that, an objective third party, saying, to help you get those thoughts and out. But like for burnout, man, like it can get hard, because especially if you're doing something like being a podcaster, you have a set schedule, you want to keep, and you keep doing it, you doing the things repetitive, especially having a sports niche podcast like I have, where I'm talking about the Lions like 3 to 4 days a week. It could burn you out. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
you're always talking about moves or games and things of that nature, and this you get very repetitive. So you have to be able to take a step back, and look at what you're doing and say, hey guys, let's refocus this. You know what I'm saying? Let's maybe take a topic from a different angle, or something different, or but it's one of those things, like taking a step back is one of those things that can help you refocus when you have a burnout, um because you can hurt yourself mentally and physically if you're burning yourself out when you're doing the same thing over and over again.
For sure, man. And it's funny that we get to have this type of conversation, man, especially with like the knowledge that's on here and the difference in career paths. And,
Coach, I think you
I
muted.
tossed it up. I tossed that question up in the midst of the little initially, like, because man, you got to think about it, man. And dang on, he didn't been in a movie. He writing other movies. Got an animation on the way, and he's constantly in the like business. He done been in all the award shows. He's up for nominations now for awards. And even though it looks like this is going, like it takes a lot out of him. At some
Oh
point,
yeah.
he do experience burnout as well. It's not just individualized to the mental health field. And then same thing with Mr. Steele. You just talked about this podcasting world in general. Like,
Hmm.
yes, it look, it can become time. It can become time. Both all of us share that, right?
Oh
It can
yeah.
become time if you let it, especially when you're trying to manage everything else that you guys have going on in your lives, working and taking care of your family, and then trying to grind the way that we do. Man, this
Hmm.
like the comment every like those issues don't skip us because of who we are. Like we go through the same thing as everybody else, man. Um, and we want to share some of those things so it don't make us difference in terms of how we take care of ourselves and what we have to do to manage, making it discuss those feelings, as they come up, doing something about it so that they don't become bad. Because I can tell you what, the worst side of when you don't do nothing about burning out is what you're probably gonna be down, sad, depressed, gonna get
Yeah.
agitated very
Stress.
easily, probably do something. Yeah. And we know the worst of depression, man. You start with having that suicidal ideation, right? Isolate yourself from others. Some people even start to self-harm. Like, it can get really, really bad. So you definitely want to do what you have to do to really care for yourself and be proactive in doing it. I'm a prime component. I've always, just because I've loved sports my whole life, and that's we all connected on that level because we all have been around sports and love it as well. It's like we just got that competitive atmosphere that, man, do something. Like we got that itch, like we got to do something. Like it would just hurt us just to sit around and be doing nothing. Like we retired, like it would hurt us. Like we got to do something, and that's kind of where it starts at when you start to even feel yourself
Mm-hmm.
do something, but do something different. Because everything that you might be doing might not necessarily work for you in that moment now. So sometimes you got to reevaluate. Some things you enjoyed before, you might not enjoy now, and vice versa. But always
Right.
be willing to try like new things and things of that nature, man. But along the way, man, you being able to manage and overcome those things, Mr. Little Man, in chasing your own dreams, every time I bring you on here, something new. Even when you talk about Mr. AC Brown and the different projects you guys got coming up, man,
Mm-hmm.
what does it look like in your world when you're working on one project, but then you see another one come into play that could be, ooh, how much attention can I put into it before this one is over?
Yeah, it's that time management. You have to have good time management. You got to know what you want to do in life, and you got to make your life fun. The business part is you want to make that your happy place. If you're doing anything in business or you doing anything in entertainment, business entertainment, music, and I worked in all aspects of music, television, movies, uh, podcasts, entertainment, business investments. I mean, basically, I'm a doctor in business. I have a DBA in business. So just being a career student and still learning, you have to be able to find some niche in everything that you're doing to make it a happy place for you to continue to grow. And like I said, with dealing with AC, we started 7 years, going on 8 years now. We started working together about 8 years ago, and we both have that competitive nature where uh, we throw ideas off each other. Like, hey, this is what we trying to do. Like I said, I went in as his business manager, then I became his business partner, then and still worked as his business manager on certain things. And we also still have the business management set up for his own business. So there's a lot of different things that we basically get information from each other and continue to grow from that aspect. But it's really come down just to time management. You got to have good time management. You got to organize correctly, and if you're doing it on your own, you don't really have any staff or any team. You have to have a balance. So that means you got to have someone in your life in your corners that can tell you, don't have to be the yes man or the yes woman. They someone that just, tell you like, hey man, you're doing it wrong. If it's a friend, your homeboy telling you like, nah, man, you need to take a step back. Look at it that way. I got good friends in my life that will tell me that uh, hey, if you married, if you got, if you dating, you got girlfriend or whatever, you want to make sure that you got that right person in your life that can help balance you that way too. But you just have to make sure that you happy in everything that you do, because once you take on a new role, it's a new idea. It's a new idea that you're doing, and you taking it from a step from beginning to end, and you can't take a step back. You take a step back, you lose focus. That's where the depression, stress, anxiety, all that stuff comes into play, because you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So you always got to make sure that what you pick in your next endeavor is the fun part. But once it stops being fun, it becomes work. And once it becomes work, that's where the stress, that's
Mm-hmm.
where the anxiety comes in, that's where the headaches, heart attacks, strokes, all that stuff comes in. And I mean, I don't seen some of the healthiest people I've ever seen in my life go through these issues where they have strokes and heart attacks, and they work out 5, 6 times a week and they
Mm-hmm.
eat healthy, it doesn't matter. That stress is the killer. It doesn't matter that eating healthy, living that balanced life, that's good if you can balance that stress out. You can take that stress out, which everybody gonna have some form of stress in their life in some type of way. And but you got to be able to balance it out, manage it right, and make sure that it don't take over your life. Once it starts taking over your life, that's where the build up on your heart, the stress, the anxiety, having all these attacks, you start having these anxiety attacks, um, you start having complications where you have to go to doctors, and that acid reflux is a form of that, with different types of stress that can be formed by
Yeah.
stress. And because you become you start eating a lot of different unhealthy foods that high in acids, high in different, hard to digest. Because you got to be real, most of the food that we eat now is processed food anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
the stuff we really eat, and even the healthiest stuff that you can get in the store, or you become vegan, or you become uh uh pescatarian, or whatever, you start just eating fish, or you just eat and you don't eat no meat, you still eating processed food. Like when you go to dairy, the dairy food, you can't drink milk, cow milk, you can't drink that. Now you got to go to lactose milk, you got to go lactate, you got to go to these different alternative methods of milk that you eat with cereal. You thinking that cereal you eating that's processed. The milk is bio that's biotech milk that they make. So it's like, yeah, it's a lot of stuff that you just gotta
Yep.
start looking at things like, man, unhealthy. The eating habits are gonna be unhealthy, even the ones you thinking is good for you. You just gotta be able to eat small portions, balance it out, work out, and also keep that stress level down. That's the issue. Once that stress comes up, that's when everything else takes aim and destroys the body and destroys the mindset. And that's what I try to keep a balance in business, work life balance. So that's the key thing, to keep that work life balance and just enjoy yourself, travel, do self-care, go to, go, some of these, men don't want to go get massages, and you don't want to get any of that type of stuff. You go get that stuff. That's good mental. You sit back, relax, get your mind clear, get some of the stress out of your body. So a lot of guys just they don't like enjoy that stuff. They don't want to. They think it's on the other, it's something else if they're going to get a massage, or they're going to get, any type of self care. I don't care. I go get self care. I love the self care. That's the mental aspect of me bringing it down for me when a work day is 12 hours. I go get a massage. Okay. Now that work day, that 12-hour day look like more of a 1 hour day to me now, because they don't work all the stress out of me. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can go back, regenerate, get back up, do the same thing the next day. I remember I lived in China for 4 years, off and on 4 years. I'm gonna be real. Foot massages and regular massages are key to the work-life balance in China and Asia. People don't understand. That's why a lot of them guys, and a lot of women over there, a lot of men over there, they don't have a lot of stress on them. They always, they live to 120, 112. They live past, they 90 years old. It was a guy I played basketball with when I was over in China. He was 96 years old. He played basketball every day, full court. People don't believe me. Full court. I got on the camera. I recorded him on one of my old cameras. I'm trying to get it. He used to play full court basketball every day with us. Full court. That's crazy. That's what I'm like. He was 96 years old, 96-year-old man, and played full court, built pull-ups, push-ups, everything. He was doing everything you think. I was like, man, I don't know. At that point in time, I was getting ready to get on the plane, head home, and say, I'm getting out of here. Just some crazy stuff. They got some. Yeah, I'm thinking they had some. I'm like, what they got going on over here? This is some. This is probably some crazy witchcraft, something or something going on. I don't know. I said, nah, this is crazy. And But my mindset when they start telling me the diets and how they drink certain teas every day, they don't do a lot of the Western medicines that we got. They use a lot of holistic medicines and they do a lot of natural remedies. So they don't use a lot of stuff that we use and put in our bodies from the chemicals to any of that type of stuff, and they don't have the stress because they do their same routines. They don't do all that. They have to be in the place over here. I got to be at this party. I got to be at this event. No, they do their same routines every day. When I tell you the routines are the same every day, and that's why I learned a lot of my work life balance from being over there for 4 years, and that's why I'm able to be teach online, be a professor, um go work on a movie, write a movie out, be part of a movie, business manage someone that's in entertainment and business, go in as a business partner, do venture capitalist work, go to California, go to travel to New York, travel a lot. At one point in time I was traveling at least 3 to 4 times a week, back and forth somewhere. Now it's like once I done got my business established, now everything's working for itself. So I got the enterprise, Captain Enterprises, Captain Brands, everything. I tell anybody in business, point blank, get your holding company. Key thing, get your holding company. Separate your holding from your other LLCs and make sure it's a LLC holding. I and C's are good. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Schedule C, schedule. You don't you want to make sure that your business is a LLC, a holding company. So like Disney is a holding. This is the advice I give to every time I try to talk on any of these podcasts. Make sure you get a holding. Disney is a holding. You can't sue Disney as a holding. You can sue Disney ESPN. You can sue Disney uh theme park. You can't sue Disney as a holding. The money that's at the theme park is not the same amount of money that's in the holding. The monies that's in ESPN is not the same amount of money in the holding. The holding is the main company that holds everything together. When if someone sues a LLC, is a certain amount of money you can get anyway. That's it. Can't get anything above that type of money. So when they go in and try to sue an LLC is broken out. Okay, you can sue how much money I got here. You can't get ESPN if you're trying to sue the theme park. You can't get no money from ESPN. You can't sue unless you sue an ESPN, the theme park. That's not never gonna happen. So that's anything and any type of business judge or any judge in them type of areas, they first thing will say, okay, which department, which company are you suing? I'm suing Captain Brands, Captain Enterprises. Okay, well, Captain Enterprise is a holding company. You really can't sue that. You only sue what division of Captain Holding are you trying to sue? Um, well, Captain, whatever. They were like, oh no, nah, you can't. And so 9 10 times they don't know what unless they got a good lawyer, they not gonna know what to do. So people just understand from a business aspect, just go out, learn business before you jump out here to do business. And I'm telling you, it's
Mhm.
very stressful. It's a headache every day, but at the same time, it's rewarding once you start get everything going. And like I said, my over the years, I had my ups and downs as a business owner. I had a high where I was making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not gonna lie. Then times where I was completely broke, and I was like, all right, now how I'm gonna get this money back? How I'm gonna get this money back? That's the thing people start asking and looking at, like, what's the way you get it back? And you can't stress yourself out for that. If you got a good formula from the first time, use that same formula. You get it the second time. You might have to tweak it a little bit to maintain it because you just lost all of it from the first formula. Tweak it a little bit, go to the next one, keep doing using that same formula, that philosophy, continue to grow. That's my balance, work-life balance, and I'm throwing in a couple gems with information that can help, help individuals out that's trying to get to that next level when they become a business owner.
For sure. For sure, man. You gave out a bunch of jewels, man, and you were right.
Mm-hmm.
Stress will take you up out of here. And I do believe
Stress.
mine probably was some stress induced for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
I got Mr. Steele on here, man, the man behind the camera. Most of the time I've had him on here, we talked a little bit, but man, speak a little bit about your degrees, man. Shoot, you got almost every degree out here in media, and you ain't just a podcaster. Yeah, drop
Yeah,
them jewels, like let them know who we talking to, man, and then just speak through
yeah.
your lens again about like stress and the things that you have to overcome, deal with, and how you manage, from day to day.
It's it's a shift. I have a bachelor's in sportscasting. I have a master's in new media journalism. I got a master's in public relations. But right now, you can see the new title. Like Anthony, I'm a professor. I teach online at UMGC, University of Maryland Global Campus, and then I teach on kind of two different spectrums. I teach at the college level, and then I teach at the middle school level. So like there's definitely a different approach to teaching I have to take with those different students. Adult students can be a little bit, here's the thing. People think, oh, they're adults, so they know how to act. Sometimes adults can get a little stubborn. like they,
Mm-hmm.
because they are adults, they're grown. So you gotta kind of like, hey, this is what it is. But it's a joy, man, to be able to help people. Um, and ironically, when I was getting my second master's, one of my instructors said, "Hey, I think you should be teaching." And lo and behold, probably about a year after that, I got hired at University of Maryland Global Campus. I love teaching there, teaching a different type of a curriculum and helping adult learners because I got a lot of my degrees when I was a grown up. You know what I'm saying? I was a well established man, had a family, had kids, had grandkids, and you know, it's a different um taking of to go back to school when an established person. So you have to look at it like I look at my students like I was in their shoes a couple years ago, and what can I do to make their journey as a student, as an adult learner, what I'm saying, how can I help them on their journey? And then for the kids that I teach and help with, just helping a kid grow and to see there's not a lot of there's not a lot of male teachers in the school, but there's even less black male teachers, especially in middle schools. And I think in that school it's like 3 or 4 of us, and for them to see us, that tells them, hey, because I grew up with any black male teachers in my schools, so just to kind of set that role model for them, and and help them and guide them in their journey. It's awesome, man, because when you show some to kids some attention, especially something that needed, man, you can be that change for them and help them grow and help them. They're starting to study harder. They're giving a better effort because you're showing them some of the attention that they need. And for stress, for me, it's always good to, like, for me, I do a couple of things. Maybe it's a white noise or something like that. Or one thing I would do, what I've done lately, is I get in the car and I ride in silence, like no radio, no music, no and I just wanted to be quiet because I'm enjoying that quiet time. Like I can have my thoughts, what I'm saying, and I can just enjoy that, because sometimes it can just be noise in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I listen to a lot of, sports radio, talk radio, politics. Or if I am listening to something now, I turn on some jazz in the car, some smooth, like, what I'm saying, melody to keep my what do you call that? My heart rate down. So, those things, just simple things like that for me has always been good. Like just to kind of like, hey, um, those type of things for me as the average guy, I'm always down for, finding some simple solutions because sometimes it's those small things that can stretch very far. I mean, um, and but as far as the biggest thing I do for my stress is like I say, I talk to a therapist twice a week. So that is one of the best things I do for my stress levels.
For sure. Hey, and iron sharpens iron, man. It's crazy that you're a professor now because Anthony, he's also doing that as well. Hey, look, it's a small world. Hey, look, this is a small world. Anthony was doing the same thing when we first started. So I know y'all can have some great conversations about that experience and just all it is, and even takes for you guys to be successful in that realm. I salute to you.
Yeah, I even added it. I even added it to my moniker for my podcasting. So it. So they call me the professor now. So like I'm Professor Curt Steele, even in my professional life, like in podcasting, that's what they call me. And like if I'm on different platforms, I had one guy who was trying to get me to come on his platform one night. I was like, "Hey man, I gotta work. It's a professor, but that's not just a title. That's my job. I got a great paper tomorrow night. I can't be on. I can't be on here talking tomorrow."
Papers.
Hey, for sure, man. I'm glad you said that because I had some people asking me to come on too. And trust and believe, it wasn't that I didn't want to come on your podcast. I wasn't even doing my own podcast. So that ought to tell you that I definitely had something going on, man. But I will.
We got
Thomas
as I
back. Get better. We got Thomas back on that Bojangles Wi-Fi over there. But yeah, my boy, he definitely back. Thomas, man, you missed some good conversation. But just talking about just stress. We talked about some anxiety, some depression. We didn't cross over into many realms, man. Just talking about what they deal with in their lives and having to overcome and still be able to chase their dreams and do some of the great things that they do. But man, any of those things that jump out and stick out to you, man, you in this field. The flow yours.
But shoot, I mean, right now I'm in the process of honestly just building my case right now. So I'm honestly not feeling any burnout. Honestly, I'm trying to help as many kids as I can possibly. I think I get a rush of just seeing the excitement on kids' face when they see me. So right now I'm just in the process of just building my case and helping as many kids as I can possibly. I mean, other than that, I was here for the whole thing. I mean, just because y'all ain't see me, don't mean I wasn't here. I was here, but my dang on connection was messed up. I don't know what was going on. So I was here though. But yeah, it was definitely a great conversation, that was happening. I was listening, but I was trying to talk, but my connection wouldn't allow me to.
It's allowing you to
now. I've said this. I said this to Mr. Hall a while ago because I kind of know your guys' background, but your story, man, Thomas, with Mr. Hall, man, and can you kind of like talk about like how how you got to be who you are through Mr. Hall, because that's an interesting story.
Oh man, dang, put me right on the spot. I mean, I don't even know where to start, honestly. Well, yes, I do. Man, I always tell everybody I don't even know where I would be if it wasn't for him, was for coach. I call him coach because he was my football coach in high school. When I was in high school, he my defensive line coach, and I remember me asking him, I think like a couple years ago. I said, Coach, why did you just take me under your wings and just keep me on your wings for that long? Because I came in 2016, 2015, so he had many more defensive linemen before me, and he just coached them, and he just let them go about their way and by their lives, and for him just to keep me beside him, I always was just asking him like why me, right? And growing up not having a lot of family, I never really knew the meaning of family till I met Coach and his family. You know, they brought me in. It was almost like they adopted me because I'm always at their house almost every day. So that's my family, and yeah. But like I said, shoot, it's so crazy because it's like now it's like I want to be more like Coach. Now I want to be more than anybody, right? Because him just being a positive role model in my life, him just putting me aside, seeing and showing me all the good things in social work and just anything else. I come to him talking about anything, and it's special, man. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you get your laptop back, we're gonna get you where you can talk clear on that microphone. And they do need to hear your story, man. You got it's great, and I ain't gonna let it ruin. I ain't gonna ruin it because of your mic tonight. But hey, yeah, man, that was a great journey, man. To see where he's then came to. I'm gonna let Miss Steele pick it back up, but definitely, you know,
Yeah.
the reason I've stayed with him, I've always told him, man, a lot of the youth they don't listen, man, but they just be misguided. They don't have the information readily available to them. So we really witness a lot of kids' dreams die in their own home just because they don't believe that it can happen for them. And at some point, he was one of those kids that didn't believe he could go to college because won't nobody around him necessarily going. I mean, he actually told me one day, like, Coach, ain't nobody going to no college, ain't nobody doing this, ain't nobody doing that. So I just laughed at him, and I just kind of let kind of walk so he can kind of see, man, like you don't. It's always good to have role models and people you can look up to and all those things, man.
Mhm.
Sometimes though, guess what? They were you. They was in your shoes. They had to walk the same path you did to get there. And
Mhm.
some of them ain't even who you think they are. And I'm constantly telling them, like, man, look, man, you don't know who those people are if you were to meet them in person. Would they treat you the way that you feel about them, right? Like
Mhm.
I've always tried to embed in him, like, man, look, you can be great. You guys got to put the focus where it is. It's so much temptation in general out here in these streets, especially, I mean, anywhere, but definitely here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, for sure. He could have definitely went any way he wanted to go, man. Always constantly fighting, being suspended from school, all those things, man. And at some point, man, as men, it's like, man, how much more can you fight? Like, what are you proving? And then you're fighting people that you ain't even in your future for what? Like it's like useless. Like you're not doing anything to
Mhm.
pour back into what's going to occur for you in your future. More than likely, man, you put yourself at more risk of being harmed or killed, which could kill off generations of your family, right? Like you just kind of wasting time with, you know. It's hard, but that's a constant message I constantly try to drill into their head, man. And most times they come back after they finish and be like, "Yeah, man, I wish I'd have listened," or "Yeah, you were right, coach." And Thomas just was one of the lucky ones that caught on and went on to college, played some college football, and he started getting familiar with this mental health field. Really doing his homework, figuring it could fit for him, taking himself to school. I never told him what to do. I just gave him the knowledge, and let him do what he could with that knowledge, man. What I try to do for everyone. And like I said, man, I'm just as impressed like as anybody else in his growth, as a young man, growing into the field. He was talking about building his caseload now. But man, he just continues to grow. He don't stay the same. So when we talk about like the premise of like this podcast, chasing your dreams, like we're constantly like all of us on here constantly doing things to get better. Kind of how our journey has unfolded and will continue to unfold, man. But I believe the sky's the limit for him. Shoot, one day he gonna be his own CEO. So I like to have him in these conversations, listening to somebody like Anthony Little talking about LLC and having a branding company. Like these are conversations he need to start wrapping his mind around, right? Like don't just chill and stay on the level you at. Like reach out, start to know what people are doing, like that above you. Those things that you dream and desire to go do, you got to put yourself in those rooms. You got to put yourself around those people. You got to be willing to ask for help, which a lot of us don't understand how to do or don't want to do because why? It makes us look less than. All these negative conceptions that, are stereotypes that we've been embedded to believe since the time we were born as men. It's soft if you cry, like all kind of stuff, right? All those things that are
Mhm.
just not simply not true, right? So it really sets you up with when you get older as a man, people close to you, they're dying. You can't show no feelings. You got to be the one strong. What happens when you don't got nobody to talk to? You don't know what's strong, man. You have a mental breakdown yourself, right? Like you can have a mental health crisis yourself. You will get
Mhm.
sick yourself. Like man, it's so many things that go on in life, man, that as men in general, we just have to always be the stronger person in the room. And that's just how we've always been embedded. If you're not that, you're viewed as being something less than. And it's just not true, right? It's just not true. And I mean, I've been victim of that myself. Like I've always tried to have to be the strong one. Definitely losing my father at a young age, watching people around me, constantly die, seeing how my family would take it. I probably didn't grieve at the time they would have been grieving, but then it would definitely hit me. I always talk about like losing my grandma and how I was trying to be so strong for the family, but shoot, when it came back and that realization hit me that I wasn't gonna be talking to her every day no more or seeing her no more, I suffered with that in silence, in here by myself. And then ultimately I learned different ways to kind of work myself and manage through it. And a lot of that had to do with work, right? Having to get back to doing some norms, like, getting back into that comfort zone. So I do, really understand like what it takes to really have to pull yourself out of that. And with people, I can definitely tell you things because I've been through things for myself as well, man. I've seen it, man. That's the whole premise of, learning from others' experience and really kind of meeting people that's like-minded. But I enjoy these conversations, man, just in general, especially with individuals like y'all that's doing so much and see so many things. You've naturally carried me in these realms, with what you guys do on a daily basis. And it will continue. Like tomorrow, man, right now, Mr. Steele's on what? Still on a holiday break, right? So you got what, about a week, maybe two, to kind of get a break, and then it's right back full tilt like
Nah,
never
it's
before.
next
Because
week.
see, next week. See,
Next week.
Ain't no more breaks. Ain't no
No
more
more
breaks in
break.
summer.
No breaks.
Ain't no more breaks,
Yeah.
right? And
No
then
breaks.
you your only break probably the whole year. Mr. Little, this your only probably couple days that you even get to break, if you can even call it
Yeah,
that, right? I did it
I don't really call it a break. Yeah. Because
exactly. It
this
picks
is like
right back up.
this is my planning period. So yeah, this is really like just gearing up for I mean, so it's gearing up for the next step, next move. Because like you said, once you take a step back and you lose that focus, you destroy your whole brand. So you have to
Man,
take that step. You always have to have that planning period. So this is the planning period for 2026.
absolutely.
2025, good year. Enjoyed it. Went by quick. You had your moments. We had a lot of different things, a lot of good things. When you're looking at just real world stuff that happened in the real world, you had a lot of good stuff that happened. You had a lot of bad stuff, but you also had a
Mhm.
lot of balanced stuff. So you got to look at it, and you got to start breaking things down from your business to what's going on in the real world, what's going on in the world. Because at this point in time, if you're a business owner, you basically in your fantasy. That's your world. So you have to
Mhm.
build that world up in your, basically in your fantasy. You have to build that world up. And so your planning period is that fantasy. That's the next move. Like what I'm gonna do next in my business, what I'm gonna do in my world, who's gonna be my next, who I'm gonna reach out to next to help me with some of this journey of what I'm trying to do and get bigger in this world. And that's what you separate because at the real of the day, I'm not Bill Gates. I'm not on Bill Gates level, but I probably got the same mindset as a Bill Gates for what he did to build his brand up, or Warren Buffett. These are the guys that you have to look at and say, all right, they did it the right way. They built it up. They didn't cut any corners. They started from the ground up and they just kept going. And yeah, so end of the day, a planning period is normally around this time, plan for your future move,
Mhm.
your next move, the 2026 move. Since that's the next year coming up, you got to just plan out. And I look at the whole thing, the whole picture. Who who's part of my world and who's part of this real world out here that I can still reach out to try to bring into my world and help me with certain things. And that's the type of advice I give to everyone that want to be in business, that's part of business. And like I'm not the most successful person in business, but I am successful. I can say I built a brand up from the ground up, you utilizing different areas of methods of business. And I put all these businesses together, and that's from education to marketing, advertising, sales, corporate, uh, working internationally with the languages. I didn't understand Mandarin when I first went out to China. I had to go work, I had to work in business and I didn't understand Mandarin. So not really understanding what you was learning in Mandarin, you took that road to that path to make things happen. When you had to go out to a different country and really didn't know the language or what's going on. Because I mean, they used to every time you get ready to go to go to these countries that looked at, oh, this a communist country. Like, okay, it's communist, but what is that? What does that mean? We didn't know media, we thinking is the worst thing in the world until you go out there. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. They say, I might get my hand cut off or something crazy might happen out here. Everybody love you. They, the first time they seeing you out there, they excited. They think everybody like us. Come out there, we play basketball or something. So they thinking like they love us. It's a whole different planet, whole different world, different side of the earth. And but you going out there and you learn it and you have to take that step. And that's where that planning period come in. You have to start thinking. I can't look at what they're doing in the real world. I got to look at what I'm doing in my world to move forward, to keep going.
For sure, man. And just kind of recapping the year in review before we kind of start to wrap up and get off here, man. A lot. 2025, man, a lot has happened, man. And you hit on a lot of things just in general that happened in the world. Man, one of those huge things, man, when we was about to even add the news component to doing the show anyway, we're gonna still do that anyway. I know a big thing that came up was the whole Kyren Lacy, the receiver from LSU, and we all kind of know how that ended tragically.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, man. And
Rest in
man,
peace.
it was tough, man. Everybody kind of it was. I was looking at it from a different angle because I guess the kind of questions I was getting, like, if I had a chance to talk to him, what are some things I would have said? What would I have possibly done if I'd have had a chance to connect with him or anybody else in that situation? And ultimately, I do see that a lot. Like, I do see people with, like, at the worst of worst, feeling like they down, sad, depressed. I them on realistically, like, if it's like really like they at the bottom, like the bottom, feeling like they cannot get any worse, it is terrible. Really, it ain't nowhere to go but up, right? Like, we just got to do something different to put in the work. And man, I've been very vocal here, even more so the older I get myself lately, because a lot of these things, man, you used to hear about them growing up. Kind of like I talk about them kids now. It's funny because you would hear some of these things coming up and you would now never fathom some of these things could really happen in the world. But like somebody getting railroaded or blamed, for something that is just completely not them. But then how in the aftermath, how you guilty before you even go to court and have a case is crazy. How you just guilty through social media and all these things like that, man. Like, I get it, man. Like, it's you getting death threats on social media, like all kind of things, man, where you get blamed for doing something that you possibly did not have any like, you didn't do it. Let's just keep it straight up. Like, you didn't do what there was a legend that you possibly did, man. Like, that had to be a tough spot, especially when your back is against the wall. You getting a chance to get ready to play on, like, you got a life dream right there ahead of you, going to play in the NFL. The draft is here. You get pulled from the draft. And man, like, later, now that all this information is coming out and they trying to show that he wasn't even near the accident and stuff, he's not here. And that family is still grieving. It ain't like that's a reward at the end of the day now. It's sad because it should have never, ever occurred. Like, so many issues occurred. So, one thing, a learning lesson in this, that I could use as a result of this in the aftermath is, like, let it play out. Like, if I could have said anything to him in general, let's just see, like, let's see how it all plays out, because I do believe he was great enough to be playing on Sundays on somebody's team. That's the truth. And even bigger than that, man, I just think he had a bigger impact on the people around him, man. I think, yeah, he was hurt for himself, but I think he was more so hurt for those around him, man. Like, you got to, like, when somebody's thrown into that kind of spotlight, man, you got so many people that latch on to you that is crazy. You have followers, you have people that you taking care of, and man, you're there. Like, you're there, man. It's just like your whole dream dies right there right before you, man. And we're talking about chasing your dream. The bigger message of this platform has always been about, like, man, sometimes you chase a dream and something happens and gets in the way, and you still have to do something to overcome it, man. That's going to always be a constant message. Like, just let's not give up. In the future, man, we'll attack some of those stories like real time, get really in depth with them, really break them down. Me and Mr. Steele, sometimes you'll probably be on here, but we're going to start to have that news component where we talk about some of those key things, especially if they're in the realm of what we're doing and make sense. Especially since people want to hear our voice and our thoughts, we might as well do it right. For that, we kind of definitely, attack those with the respect that they deserve. Definitely very respectful of his family. That's why I'm not really talking a lot about the case. I do wish them well. I kind of hate that whole situation occurred, and I hope that don't nobody else go through it, man. That for me was one of the worst things that happened in 2025, and he ain't even part of my family, right? So if it touches anybody, it almost feel like it touches me, So I feel like that just in general for people around me, right? Like when something happened in their families that's bad, it feel like it happens to me now, especially the older I get, because I just kind of hate to see those type of things happen. Like it's just crazy. But
And I
2025,
think the
go ahead.
world that we lived in when we was coming up was there was no social media.
Mm-hmm.
So, word travel, it took light years for that word to get around. And then it was just a rumor. You didn't know this was it. That was it. You didn't know a lot of the stuff that was going on in the world, but now everything is at the fingertip. As soon as you hear something. And a lot of these guys coming up, teenagers, they've been a part of the social media world. They've been and they build these fan bases. They see all the hate comments. They see all the negativity. They see the positivity. They post a picture. They get hit with so many negativity words and a lot of these guys might be going through something stressful, and they start reading these comments and they seeing these different things that people putting out there about them. And like you said, you can't judge someone just based on word of mouth or what you think happened from if you don't know the story, you wasn't part of the story, you shouldn't judge. You just got to let
Mm-hmm.
that play out. Like you said, let it play out. Let him see his day in court, or let him I mean, like you said, this guy was taking the next step into being part of the NFL family. And
Mm-hmm.
for them to turn their back on him, that's another big thing. They turned their back on him before he was even guilty of
Yep.
anything. So that's my whole issue when it comes to that. And that's the judgment of a lot of this social media stuff that's going on. They see that they read all these comments when they doing these investigations now. First thing they go to is your social media platform. They don't
Mm-hmm.
go, they don't look at the real facts. They don't go to the crime scenes. They don't review the tapes. They don't do and the cops don't really do that a lot no more. They just go to the social media platforms now. They pull your social media, your phone records. That's all they do. They pull text messages. They pull uh social media records. That's all they got. That because they think everybody's life is on these social media platforms. And the ones that's really being successful out here are not moving around in social media. I'm just being for real. The ones that's really good, you don't see a Warren Buffett on social media. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
He might jump on there for a conference or something that they live streaming or something, but you don't see a Warren Buffett, you don't see a Bill Gates, you don't see Nas, you don't see nobody on Nas do not be on social media like that. So that's another thing
Mm-hmm.
you don't see Jay-Z on social media. You
You
don't
don't
see
see
any of
Eric
these,
Hall either.
you don't see, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't see a lot of people when they really building that brand, or they really building a lot of big things, they do not be on social media to that point where it comes like with that negativity. But some people brands have to be part of the social media platforms. That's the way they gonna
Mm-hmm.
get to the top. Like my brand takes a lot with social media, and I have to embrace it and I have to really love it, enjoy it. And I don't the comments, that's gonna come. But a lot of these kids, like I said, these are kids coming up. And that's what people forget. This young man was what, 17, 18 years old?
Shoot.
Maybe
And
within that range,
probably
17,
probably a little bit
maybe
older than that, but
20.
Want too
Yeah,
much older, yeah, 'cause you about to go
yeah,
to the league.
yeah.
Yeah.
2021. 22.
Mhm.
I mean, my son is 20. So I mean, I understand they don't really understand a lot of the stuff that's going on, from that negativity stuff to what's really negative, what's really positive. I have a good friend now that's going through some stuff with one of their, when their kids, that is a mental issue. And that's why I have to talk to you about that too, Eric, or off camera,
For
and
sure.
talk to you a little bit more about that. Maybe you can help this young man out. And he's, like I said, he's a football guy too. I mean, he got a lot of recruits, a lot of different things. And I was telling his mother that I was reach out to someone that probably can help him a little better understanding some of this stuff that's going on. But yeah, end of the day, a lot of this stuff, a lot of these kids can't really deal with that mentally. And once they figure it out, you know, hey, and it could be devastating to what they trying to do in their life. It be once they figure it out, or it can be, or they can figure it out. They can figure it out with the right help, right mentorship, right people in their corner. So, and that's the thing. Everything is fast, microwavable now. So that's what we have to look at from the full picture, and we have to continue to grow and start understanding this social media platform for what it really is. And that's where you're gonna be. That's how you're gonna become successful overall. And that's how you're gonna have to. That's how you're gonna be able to deal with your mental and deal with the positive and the negative of that mental.
For sure, for sure. And man, shoot. So man, in terms of just getting ready to start wrapping this up, man.
Mhm.
We about to be getting up out of 2025 and going into 2026 here soon, man. So just for both of y'all, man, just question just thrown up. Like what was the best thing that even happened for you guys in 2025? And what are you kind of looking like the most forward to going into 2026? It's time for them New Year resolutions, right? Like, yeah, it's that
Mhm.
time that everybody look forward to at the end of every year. What we got going on for you guys, man? What's going on?
For me, I think really um delving into the realm of teaching was probably the one of the best things that happened to me professionally and really personally, because it really, like, helped uh you know in inside my home as well, and inside my family dynamic. But um and I'm looking forward to continuing that next year. Like I said, classes pick up next week, so I'll be going back into the middle school and going back into teaching, being a professor. So those things, because I think that's something that I enjoy, helping people, and if I can help someone along their journey chase their dreams, that's something that I enjoy as far as being an educator.
For sure, for sure. There's definitely something to look forward to too.
Yeah, I would say probably my biggest thing this year was I'm really starting understanding this AI model, some of the stuff that's
Mm,
going on with AI, and been taking some of the classes trying to really get certified in some of this AI model, the modeling of being a part of AI. And I always told myself, like, yeah, I'm not even going back to school for anything. I'm good. I done been to school so much. And then I was like,
Mhm.
now you basically going through another almost like the industrial revolution, but now you're going through the AI revolution of it. Uh
Mhm.
so it's a whole new wave of business models and business moves that you can do with AI and robotics and uh any of these analysis, like learning how to run analysis through AI, which is now it cuts a lot of the corners of the hand. But people also got to look at it. It do dumb you down some. Once you have to, when you run the stuff through AI and all these different chat GPT and all this stuff and learning all that stuff, it do dumb you down from the standpoint. So you have to be very careful on how you operate and learn these models, because it will take away from what you've been learning. That in our generation we learned the hard way. We learned the way by reading books,
mm-hmm.
studying, putting
Mhm.
the work in. And and a lot of times now you got to look at it. It will dumb you down. It will bring you down to the reality, like, hey, this world is getting real so quick. You gotta be fast on your feet on a lot of this stuff. So I think learning a lot about AI and the distribution for the film, the international distribution was going to be big. We've really been rolling on this film because this film is a very positive film. The Art of Business, the best of both worlds. It's on 10 platforms. You can watch it on 10 different platforms, soon to be on Apple TV, Fandango TV, coming very soon internationally, which is going to be in markets like South Africa, Asia, different parts of Asia, different parts of Africa, different parts of Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. We even touching up towards Poland. Uh, even though they with Belarus, different places like that, we touching certain parts of in that area near Russia and Ukraine and all that. And that's another sad issue that's going on in the world now. That it have to be some type of resolution that comes to that soon too. Um, but overall, like I said, because this the way we doing business now, as some of the things that I learned over the just this year is taking these business models that I learned over this year to move forward to next year to make it better and keep improving it. Now I'm adding this AI into my business model. So yeah, so I learned a lot. Distribution was a big thing. My movie expansion of my movie, get ready to close the deal on this clothing distribution deal that's going to be big in Asia. Me and AC. Uh, Commercials. We got a couple more commercials coming out this that we filmed this year that's going to go into next year. Repeat commercials, like we did a tax commercial that's going to come back out again. I think it's going to start in January again, so you probably see that same commercial repeat for a few years in a row until they bring us back and get us up there doing another one. But yeah, we got more commercials coming out. We got possibly some acting roles for AC that I'm trying to close now. uh and just my Asian partners, I've been my business partners in Asia. We've been growing different real estate brands and different things for them, and I've been part of that, learning a lot from that. So yeah, overall, this has been a great year, but I think 2026 is going to be a huge. I can't wait to get back up here like this time around next year, and the accomplishments that I know, just like I said, when you're going into your world compared to the real world, my world gonna be very big. I think after 2026.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for me, man, the best thing about 2025, I mean, watch my business grow, man. Being the owner of Creative Minds Healthcare. It was a time where it was pretty much only me and probably a staff that would help me from the front desk. And to now, I never probably ever get one of those quiet moments alone in my life. To having over 20 staff, right now and growing every day. And we've added on other services. We've added on a new building. We're looking to expand right in at the beginning of 2026. We will open up another location. So I look forward to growth in general, but definitely my best year in business by four. I hope every year continues to get better. I hope 2026 is a better year because that'll be great for me and great for everybody around me for sure. It's been 2025 has been great, man. I mean, overall, football, we didn't win no championship. We didn't go this year. That didn't turn out as good as it had been, I guess, the previous couple of years. But man, watching those kids, that a lot of those kids never even played football from that class till we got them, and watching their growth. I talked a lot about that, in terms of where they were into what they became. Man, I can't ask no more of them. They gave me everything that they had for sure. And you live in that. Sometimes it's just how the deck of cards fall, right? You get with it's high school, man. You got to coach what you get. And I'm pleased with just in general the year as a whole. Man, it wasn't a bad year. It wasn't a bad year by for me. Definitely had some bad things happen. Lost some people, but overall, man, I definitely believe it was a good year. And I do believe I sure hope 2026 is better. And I just, The one scare I really had was just kind of understanding, man, the older I get, paying closer attention to, like you said, stress, taking my health a whole lot more serious and staying on top of it, not waiting for something bad to happen. Really being proactive about jumping on those things. A lot of insurance companies now have those programs in general too. Just those wellness programs that kind of help you get jump started, do some things so that I've seen like they got the ones for like diabetes, risk of diabetes, high blood pressure, like all kind of things is on there, man. Like if you have those things like heart disease, kidney failure, any of those things in your family, they have like different plans and stuff that you can get started on, just kind of being proactive to try to reduce some of the risk. Doesn't mean that it eliminates all of it, but for sure it gives you a better chance, right? So I've really been paying attention to things like that, man, and I'll just become more educated on things like that, going into 2026. And I look forward to getting back to this world right here, doing some more podcasts. They done put a little argument still get to be on me like he want to anyway. He been wanting to do it. It ain't him, it's me for sure. So just kind of getting back into the niche of doing this, man. I appreciate you guys taking the time out, especially tonight, for us to be able to kind of get this thing back rolling. And man, I'm looking forward to even see what this can become in 2026. So, last and words, man, I'll let you guys, handle that so we can get this thing closed out. But man, it's on y'all. I enjoyed y'all tonight. Like always, I'm gonna still be here even after we finish cutting the recording. I'm gonna still be here, for whatever we would need to talk about, discuss. And I got you guys 100%.
Yeah. For me, it's just wishing everyone a happy new year, and do your best, I'm saying, to chase your dreams, man. It's going to be a great year for the show, and we're going to do a lot of good positive work on this platform.
For sure.
Yeah. Also, yeah, just I would tell everyone, like I said, stay focused, grow, continue to look forward to what you got planned for the new year, resolutions, reservations, anything that you got going on, just continue to make it happen and put forth the effort to do it. Don't if you say you're gonna go to this gym, go to the gym. Don't say, hey, I'm just go to the gym just for the, first week, and then the second week, like, you know what? I'm into the new year. I'm good now. And so yeah, you going to the gym, you putting that as your resolution. You eating right. You say you're gonna eat right, continue doing that. Just actually stay on the positive road of what you put forth for your plan of your resolutions and your plan of your reservations.
For sure, for sure. Definitely stick with whatever those New Year resolutions is. And for us tonight on the Chasing Your Dreams podcast, we wrapping it up. Happy New Year to everyone. Be safe, enjoy it, have fun with your family and friends, and let's go get it in 2026.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Yeah. Good night.